The real estate market is always interesting, and we're seeing some shifts in the market right now, especially here in Northeast Florida. Joining us today is Cindy Tomassetti, broker associate with Christie's International Real Estate. Thank you so much for being here. Always great to see you.
Oh, it's always a pleasure to be here, and I love seeing what the new things are on the set. It's beautiful.
Oh, yeah, I know. It's so fun, all the things that we've been able to do here at First Coast Living and First Coast News. But this is a really important topic, right? Buying and selling homes. We're seeing some changes. We know real estate is hyper-local. So let's start with pricing. Are sellers still able to push prices like they were a few years ago?
So the short answer to that is no.
Okay.
And what I like to say about this market right now is it's a strategic market. May on the First Coast is traditionally and right now one of the highest volume months, so there's plenty of activity, but there's a lot of balance. You're going to see some shortages in some very desirable areas, but it's generally a desirable market.
Okay, good.
A desirable balance market. And when I say strategic, if you're a seller, you need to price correctly right out of the gate. If your house is overpriced, it's going to sit on the market.
Right.
And we know that the longer they sit, typically the less you're going to get. You're going to have to do price reductions.
Yeah.
So you just don't want to do that. So you need to do your homework, be very informed, and make that decision of where to price. And what I see when that happens, when a home is priced correctly, it's staged, it's professionally presented and marketed, is those homes are going under contract in very few days.
Oh,
often,
wow.
Yeah, often multiple offers, sometimes more than the asking price, because they played strategically to the market. I feel like the worst thing a seller can do is go, oh, let's just test the market and see what happens.
And then you're going to be sitting there.
That is a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, we don't like that. Okay, what about cash buyers? Some people assume that if they're paying cash, they're automatically going to get like a better deal. Is that true?
That is one of the biggest misconceptions.
Okay.
So cash is great. It's convenient. You typically close more quickly. There's less contingencies involved, but it is a convenience.
Right.
I have a listing right now where we had multiple offers on this home, but we had some offers for cash that came in 20, 30, even 50% of asking price.
Oh my.
Yeah. So let me just tell you that that seller was more than happy to wait 3 weeks to take a finance deal and close at 98% of her asking price.
Okay.
So cash is fun, and all things being considered, it can be a great incentive. However, it is not a discount coupon.
Right, and it's not a guarantee either,
No.
really. So how can buyers know if they're making a fair offer in today's market? Because, you know, some people even get offended sometimes.
Right. Well, you know, homework.
Okay.
So either a buyer themselves or they're working with a trusted agent. And none of these prices should come out of thin air.
Right.
So when you're looking to make an offer, you're going to look at what homes have sold that are as close in proximity to that property and in date. And then you're going to look at the condition of them as well. These automated valuation models like Zillow and Redfin, they're great for a general idea because they're going to give you property based on square footage as the crow flies. But what they're not going to take into consideration is, does that house have a view of the golf course? Or maybe the other home that sold for less was looking at the back of another house. Does that home have, is it on a cul-de-sac where this one is on the crossroads? Those variances. So you have to take that into consideration.
Right.
Like maybe there's a bunch of ugly kitchens, so these homes sold for less, and this one has a brand spanking new $80,000 designer kitchen. That has to be taken in consideration. You can get that information. Your agent should help you with that. And when I'm working with buyers, I give them that information so they can make an informed choice.
Right.
And as a seller, if a buyer's agent comes back to me and said, where did you come up with this price? I'm like, here is my data, here's my information. You can use this so your buyer can look at it and make an informed choice.
And that's why it's good to work with a real estate agent. So it sounds like strategy really is everything right now.
Strategy is everything, and one thing I really want to say is, especially if you're looking in a neighborhood where there are very few houses on the market, if you've found that dream home, don't procrastinate and don't play games. Homes like that are not staying on the market. I have taken some very sad, unhappy phone calls from buyers who are like, oh, well, we just, wanted to wait until the weekend.
Can't wait.
No, or, they make a low offer and they're waiting for a counter offer. A seller is not obligated to give you a counter offer.
Really? Okay, good to know.
And then somebody else can come in and just snatch your dream house away. So be strategic and be proactive.
And work with the lovely Cindy Tomassetti if you'd like, if they want to. How can they do that?
They can find me at cyndy.tomassetti.com.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining. You look fabulous. By the way.
Thank
I meant
you.
to tell you that at the beginning. But thank you so much. You're always helping us out with the ever-changing real estate market. So thanks again. And everyone at home, if you would like to see this interview again, just head to First Coast News Plus.